A failed alien ship was left on Earth, and humanity turned it into a weapons sci-fi. The desert was quiet, almost too quiet. The sun burned the sand, turning it into a golden sea that stretched farther than the eye could see. Dust rose in thin clouds with every step of a vehicle, and the only sounds were the wind and the distant calls of birds. Ethan Miller sat in the small research truck, wiping sweat from his forehead. He was a young physicist, barely 30, with a thin frame but quick hands. Beside him, Claire Adams adjusted her hat and squinted at the horizon. She was an engineer, practical and precise, with a mind that loved puzzles. Today, the puzzle was enormous, and no one had any clue what it was. "Are you sure it landed here?" Claire asked. Her voice carried over the engine noise. "Satellite images don't lie," Ethan replied, tapping his tablet. A blurred, bright spot in the desert marked the crash site. "It's not small either. Whatever it is, it's big." Claire leaned forward. "Big enough to make a crater like that. Something this size would need to fall from space at an enormous speed. I hope it's stable." Ethan shook his head. "We won't know until we get close, but I have a feeling this isn't normal." The truck bounced over uneven sand, leaving tracks that disappeared into the distance. They passed a lone rock formation, jagged and blackened from old lightning strikes. Then, as the vehicle rounded a rise, the crash site came into view. The ship was unlike anything either of them had seen. Half buried in sand, it had a smooth, curved shape, like a giant silver leaf that had fallen from the sky. Its surface shimmered faintly under the sun, and strange blue lines ran across it like veins of light. Smoke rose from broken panels and small sparks flickered from exposed circuits. Claire's mouth fell open. "It's alive, isn't it?" Ethan stepped out slowly, feeling the heat of the desert on his skin. "No, it's not alive, not like us, but it's definitely strange. Look at the metal. It doesn't look like anything Earth makes." They walked closer, each step careful. The sand around the ship was blackened, scorched from the impact, and a small crater formed a rough circle around it. The air smelled sharp, like metal and ozone. Ethan crouched and ran his fingers over a piece of twisted alloy. It was warm, almost pulsing, as if it held energy inside. "Ethan," Claire said quietly, "do you think anyone or anything was inside?" He shook his head. "Doesn't look like it, but I wouldn't rule it out. Whatever made this, it didn't survive the crash, or maybe it left on its own." A sudden sound made them both freeze. A low hum vibrated through the air. Ethan's eyes widened. The ship was pulsing faintly, small blue sparks running along its body. Claire took a step back, her hands shaking slightly. "Ethan, it's turning on," she whispered. He frowned, scanning the surface. "No, it's not turning on, it's reacting like it's aware of us." Before Claire could reply, a military helicopter appeared in the sky. Dust and sand rose in waves as it landed nearby, sending small stones flying. Soldiers rushed out, their rifles at the ready. At their head was Captain Daniel Hart, a tall man with broad shoulders and a calm, commanding presence. His eyes were sharp, scanning the ship with a mixture of awe and calculation. "Step back from the object," he ordered. His voice was firm but not harsh. "Do not touch anything until my team secures it." Ethan and Claire exchanged a glance. "We're the scientists here," Ethan said. "We need to study it." Captain Hart raised an eyebrow. "And you will, but only after it's safe. We don't know what this thing can do." From the helicopter, 2 other people joined them. One was Lucas Hayes, a young pilot with quick reflexes and a confident smile. The other was Mia Grant, a technician who specialized in electronics. They all looked at the ship, each in their own way stunned by its size and design. Lucas walked closer, circling the ship. "This is something else," he said, crouching to touch the ground near the impact. "This crater is huge. Whatever hit here, it came fast and hard." Mia nodded, pulling out a handheld scanner. "Energy readings are off the charts. I've never seen anything like this. The core is active, I think. Barely, but it's alive in some way." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "Alive, you mean the ship itself?" "Yes," Mia said simply. "It's producing energy, pulsing, maybe waiting for something or someone." For hours, the team examined the site. They took measurements, scanned the ship, and carefully documented the damage. Every layer of metal, every broken panel, and every strange, glowing line was recorded. The ship seemed almost organic in its construction, its curves flowing naturally rather than mechanically. As the sun began to set, the desert turned pink and orange. Ethan stood back and watched the glowing lines across the ship. They pulsed rhythmically, as if breathing. He felt a strange connection, like the ship was trying to communicate but didn't know how. Claire broke the silence. "Ethan, do you think it's from another planet?" He swallowed. "I don't know, but if it is, we might be the first humans to touch it." Night came quickly in the desert. The temperature dropped, and the team set up temporary lights around the crash site. Sparks still flickered from the damaged ship, and the hum of energy was constant, low, and vibrating through the air. Even Captain Hart seemed unsettled. Suddenly, a loud metallic groan echoed from the ship. Everyone froze. The glow along its surface brightened and moved, flowing like liquid light. Ethan and Claire looked at each other, wide-eyed. "It's moving," Claire said, her voice barely audible. Lucas grabbed his flashlight and shone it on a panel. The light revealed a small hatch opening slightly. A hiss of air escaped, carrying a strange, sweet smell. The hatch was not big enough for a person, but something inside shifted, almost like it was testing them. Captain Hart signaled his team to stand back. "Don't touch it," he warned. "We don't know what it can do. Wait for orders." Mia whispered, her eyes on the readings. "It's responding to us, to our presence. The energy is rising." Ethan felt a mix of fear and excitement. His heart raced. He had studied physics all his life, but nothing in his textbooks had prepared him for this moment. This ship, this alien creation, could change everything humans knew about the universe. Hours passed. The team set up a perimeter and monitored the ship's activity. Occasionally, sparks flew from its surface, and the hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan sketched the glowing lines on his tablet, trying to understand the pattern. Claire worked beside him, examining the panels and broken circuits, her mind racing with possibilities. "This could be a power source beyond anything we've ever seen," she said quietly. "If we can figure out how it works," Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "Or it could destroy us if we're not careful." That night, as the desert winds swept around the crash site, the ship continued to glow softly. It was quiet, but the energy inside was alive and waiting. Ethan couldn't sleep. He stayed by the ship's edge, watching the lines of light pulse in a rhythm almost like breathing. He wondered what it had come for, why it had crashed, and if anyone or anything else knew about it. The desert was empty, silent, and vast, but inside that alien ship there was life, a life humans could not yet understand. And as the first stars appeared in the night sky, Ethan felt a spark of hope and fear. Humanity had discovered something incredible, something powerful, something that could change everything. He didn't know it yet, but this ship, broken and abandoned, would soon become more than a curiosity. It would become a test of human ingenuity, courage, and willpower. And humanity, for better or worse, was about to rise to that challenge. The morning sun rose slowly over the desert, painting the sand in soft shades of gold and pink. The alien ship sat in the crater, its surface calm but glowing faintly, like it had been resting but still alive inside. Ethan Miller and Claire Adams arrived early, eager to continue their work. Last night had been long, filled with questions and wonder. Today, they hoped for answers. The military had set up a temporary base around the site. Tents, vehicles, and equipment surrounded the ship, forming a tight perimeter. Soldiers patrolled the area, their rifles ready, but most of them were curious rather than fearful. This was not just a crash, it was a discovery unlike anything humanity had seen. Captain Daniel Hart stood at the edge of the perimeter, watching the team. "Remember," he said firmly, "this ship is still unknown. We don't know what it can do, so no one goes near it without permission." Ethan nodded. "Understood, sir." Claire was already kneeling by one of the smaller panels that had broken off during the crash. She ran her fingers across its smooth, glowing surface. "Ethan," she said softly, "look at this. The material, it's changing color under my touch. It's almost like it's learning about us." Ethan crouched beside her. He held his tablet close, recording data. "I saw the same thing last night, but it isn't just reacting to touch. It's reacting to energy, our energy, human energy." From the sky, the whir of a helicopter announced the arrival of Lucas Hayes and Mia Grant. They landed near the perimeter, dust swirling around their feet. Lucas jumped out, brushing sand from his clothes. "Morning, everyone," he said, a grin on his face. "Looks like our shiny friend didn't sleep." Mia carried a small scanner. "Its energy readings are steady but unusual, not like anything from Earth. I want to try connecting it to our devices, see if it responds." Captain Hart shook his head. "Careful, Mia. No direct contact without authorization. We don't know what happens if you misstep." But curiosity could not be contained. The team spent the morning setting up safe ways to experiment. They placed sensors around the ship, measuring temperature, electromagnetic fields, and light pulses. Every time someone got close, the ship seemed to respond. Sparks ran along its surface, faint hums filled the air, and blue lines glowed brighter. Ethan noticed a pattern. "Claire, the pulses, they're not random. Look at this chart." He pointed at the tablet where a graph showed repeating spikes of energy. "It's like it's trying to communicate, or maybe it's trying to test us." Claire frowned, studying the lines. "If it's a test, we're the first to pass it. Maybe it's looking for something. Intelligence, maybe." Lucas laughed. "We humans, the smartest thing it's met so far, that's funny." "Don't joke about it," Ethan said, half serious. "It's serious, I can feel it." By midday, Captain Hart had allowed Mia to try a controlled experiment. She connected a portable power supply to one of the ship's smaller energy nodes. A hum filled the air, low and vibrating, like the ship was waking. Sparks danced across the metal surface and the blue veins glowed brightly. Then, slowly, a panel opened slightly. Ethan and Claire approached, their curiosity winning over caution. "It's opening," Claire whispered. Mia's fingers flew over her scanner. "It's responding to the current, but also to our presence. Something inside is alive, not alive like an animal, but alive." A faint sound came from the ship, a soft chime, almost musical. Ethan shivered. "It's communicating, I don't know in what way, but it knows we're here." Lucas stepped closer, raising his hand to touch the ship. Captain Hart grabbed his arm. "No, step back, do not touch it until we understand it." But the ship seemed to anticipate the movement. A line of light ran along the surface, reaching toward Lucas. He froze. The light didn't hurt him, but it formed a shape almost like a hand reaching out. He swallowed, feeling a mixture of fear and awe. Ethan studied the readings. "It's sensing thought, maybe intention. We move, it reacts. We think, it reacts. It's learning." Claire nodded. "Then we have to be careful. Every move we make, every experiment, we're teaching it about us. And we don't know what it will do with that knowledge." Over the next few days, the team experimented carefully. They discovered that small changes in energy input could make the ship respond differently. Sometimes it moved slightly, shifting panels or opening hatches. Other times, it emitted pulses of energy, harmless but powerful, enough to make the sensors spin and buzz. Mia suggested a daring experiment. "What if we try to control it indirectly? We can't pilot it yet, but maybe we can guide its energy." Ethan hesitated. "It's risky. This is alien technology. We don't know if it's stable." Captain Hart studied the data and then nodded slowly. "Controlled experiments, only under strict supervision. We need to understand it before anyone can use it." The team set up a small robotic drone to interact with the ship. The drone hovered near a panel, its sensors recording every movement. The ship pulsed in response, opening a small hatch. Tiny mechanisms inside moved, almost like fingers touching the drone without damaging it. Claire watched, amazed. "It's gentle, it doesn't attack, it's curious." Ethan recorded the readings. "Curious, yes, but cautious. That means it knows danger exists. That means it might be defensive if threatened. We have to remember that." By the end of the week, the team had made a small breakthrough. They discovered that their brain waves, when measured with the scanner, could influence the ship's minor movements. Thoughts of moving the drone left or right caused the ship to shift panels in those directions. It was subtle, imperfect, but it worked. "This is incredible," Ethan said. "We're not just observing it, we're interacting, we're communicating with it." Claire smiled, tired but excited. "It's like it's learning to trust us, and we're learning to understand it, but there's still so much we don't know." Lucas, always the impatient one, leaned back. "So what you're saying is we can maybe control it?" Ethan shook his head. "Control is too strong a word. Influence, maybe. But the moment we try to force it, it could respond violently. We need to respect it." Mia added, "And that's what makes it dangerous. It's not just a machine. It thinks, reacts, learns. We have to be smarter than it, or at least as smart." The days passed, and the team grew more confident. They learned how to measure the ship's energy pulses, how to predict some movements, and how to influence them safely. The alien ship, once a crashed mystery, was slowly becoming a partner in discovery. Then one evening, as the sun set and the desert turned a deep orange, something unexpected happened. A faint signal came from the ship. It wasn't energy pulses or lights this time, it was a sound. Low, melodic, almost musical. Ethan and Claire froze. "Did you hear that?" Claire whispered. Ethan nodded. "It's communicating, but it's not like words, not yet. Maybe it's a signal we can understand later." Mia checked her scanner. It's not random. There's a pattern, repeating. Something is trying to tell us something. Captain Hart stepped closer, his face serious. If this is a message, we have to be careful. We don't know if it's friendly or dangerous. Lucas laughed nervously. Friendly? It just fell from space. I'd call it lucky if it's neutral. But Ethan and Claire didn't laugh. They felt something deeper, something impossible. The ship wasn't just a tool or a weapon. It was alive in a way humans had never experienced, and it was reaching out. Over the next few nights, the team worked tirelessly trying to decode the signal. The hums and pulses seemed to match certain movements of the ship. The ship itself moved subtly, almost like it was dancing to the music it made. Ethan realized something. It's learning from us too. Every action, every experiment it's recording, it's building patterns. It's adapting, Claire nodded. And that's the key. If we can understand it, maybe we can guide it, not control it, but guide it, carefully. Captain Hart, standing behind them, said quietly, Then we have our mission, understand it, guide it, keep it safe. Humanity needs this, whatever it is. The desert wind blew softly, carrying sand in long waves. The alien ship glowed under the stars, calm but alive. Humanity had found something incredible, something powerful, but the real work was just beginning. The ship had fallen from the sky by accident, but in human hands it might become something more. Ethan looked at the glowing panels, at the blue lines running like veins of light. He felt a surge of hope and fear. This was not just science. This was a step into the unknown, a first contact with intelligence far beyond Earth. And whatever came next, humanity would have to rise to the challenge. The alien ship waited, patient and watchful. And humanity, for the first time, was ready to meet it. The desert morning was quiet, but the air was full of tension. The alien ship sat in the crater, calm but glowing with faint blue lines that pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan Miller, Claire Adams, Lucas Hayes, and Mia Grant were already at the site, their eyes fixed on the ship. Captain Daniel Hart stood behind them, arms crossed, watching every move. The team had spent weeks learning the ship's patterns, discovering that it could respond to human thought and energy. Today, they would take a step further. Ethan held a tablet showing readings from the previous night. The ship's energy is stable. The pulses are steady and it responded to our commands perfectly. But it's more than that. It seems to anticipate our actions now. It's learning faster. Claire nodded, her fingers brushing over a control panel. It's adapting to us. Every experiment, every movement it learns. If we want to turn this into something useful, we have to think ahead. Lucas leaned back on a rock, smiling. You mean we're teaching a spaceship how to fight? Ethan gave him a serious look. Not yet, but one day, maybe. For now, we study, we guide. And we make sure it doesn't hurt us. Mia adjusted her scanner. I think it's ready for a new test. We've tested small movements, minor energy pulses. Now we should try combining them, see if it can follow complex instructions. Captain Hart stepped forward. Careful. Complexity can be dangerous. We need control measures, no risks without safety protocols. The team agreed and set up a series of small obstacles around the ship. Robotic drones, sensors, and movable panels formed a test area. The goal was simple. Get the ship to move a drone from one point to another using its energy pulses without anyone touching it. Ethan focused, closing his eyes for a moment. He concentrated on the drone, imagining it moving left, then right, then forward. The ship pulsed in response, faint vibrations running through the air. The blue lines on its surface shifted slightly, as if listening. Claire watched the drone carefully. Slowly it moved, first a little, then more precisely. The ship's energy flowed like water, guiding it exactly as Ethan imagined. It's working, Claire whispered. It's actually working. Lucas clapped his hands. I told you, humans are smarter than aliens, right? Mia shook her head, smiling. Not smarter, just adaptable. That's why we're succeeding. The ship expects patterns, rules, maybe even logic, but humans, we think outside the rules. Captain Hart looked thoughtful. That might be the key. The ship was designed for another species, not us. That difference is our advantage. Over the next few days, the team refined their method. They learned how to combine human thought with controlled energy pulses, moving drones, opening panels, and even creating small energy shields. Each test was carefully recorded, and each success increased the team's confidence. One afternoon, Ethan noticed something unusual. The ship's energy readings spiked unexpectedly, then stabilized. He looked at the tablet and frowned. Something is changing. It's adapting faster than before. Claire leaned over. Maybe it's learning from us more efficiently. We're getting better at guiding it, and it's learning from that. Mia frowned. That's a double-edged sword. Faster learning means it could also anticipate threats, or react in ways we don't expect. Captain Hart crossed his arms. Then we train it to follow us, not the other way around. That's the rule. We lead, it adapts, but we never lose control. That night, the team ran another experiment. This time, they tried something daring, using their combined focus to guide the ship's energy directly into a small target at the edge of the test field. The target was a heavy metal cylinder designed to test energy output without causing damage. Ethan focused, imagining the energy flowing through the ship to the cylinder. Claire added her own focus, shaping the energy path. Lucas controlled the drone to maintain alignment, and Mia monitored the readings. Slowly, the cylinder vibrated, glowing faintly as energy hit it. Then, with a pulse, it lifted slightly from the ground, suspended by invisible force. The team stared in amazement. "It worked," Lucas shouted. "It actually worked." Ethan smiled but stayed focused. "It worked because we worked together. This isn't about control, it's about cooperation. That's the difference. That's how humans can make it more than a weapon, for now." Mia shook her head, laughing softly. "I never thought I'd see a spaceship lift objects without touching them, and not with machines with us." Captain Hart's face remained serious. "Remember, this is just training. We're still exploring. This power is incredible, but we have to be careful. One wrong step, and it could destroy everything." Over the next weeks, the team continued experiments. They discovered that human intuition allowed them to guide the ship in ways the alien designers had never intended. The ship's energy could be focused into shields, directed as a beam, and even move multiple objects at once. Every day it became clearer. Humans were turning what had been a failed alien ship into something new, something uniquely human. One evening, as the desert cooled under a sky full of stars, Ethan and Claire stayed behind to analyze data. "Look at this," Ethan said, pointing at a graph. "Every time we combine our thoughts with energy pulses, the ship responds more efficiently." "It's like it's learning to trust humans," Claire nodded. "And that trust is what gives us an advantage. The aliens built it to follow rules. We break the rules, and that makes us unpredictable. That unpredictability is power." Mia and Lucas arrived, carrying supplies and laughing. "Talking to the ship again?" Lucas teased. "Not talking," Claire replied. "Teaching, learning, guiding." Captain Hart appeared from the shadows, his face lit by the ship's glow. "It's more than just learning. It's adapting to humans. That's why we have the edge. The ship isn't just a tool, it's a partner." The next morning brought a challenge. A small team of military analysts arrived from another base, curious and skeptical. They wanted to see the alien ship and test its potential. Captain Hart briefed them carefully. "This ship is not just technology. It is alive in some way. It responds to humans. It adapts. It is dangerous if not handled correctly. Our team has learned to guide it. We ask that you respect that. No direct contact." The analysts nodded, though some seemed doubtful. They placed sensors and cameras around the perimeter. As the tests began, the ship responded to the team's energy pulses with greater speed and precision than before. Drones moved smoothly, panels opened and closed, and energy fields formed around objects. One analyst, clearly frustrated, tried to predict the ship's response using conventional logic. The ship reacted unpredictably, shifting energy in unexpected ways. Sparks flew and small waves of energy moved across the ground. He stumbled backward, shocked. Ethan smiled slightly. "That's exactly what I mean. It's human intuition that matters. The ship wasn't built for us, so we can use that difference to our advantage." Claire added, "We don't just use power, we guide it. That's what makes us effective. That's how we'll turn this into a weapon if we need to, not by force, but by intelligence." Weeks turned into months. The team refined their understanding of the ship, discovering new ways to focus energy, move objects, and even defend themselves. Every test increased their confidence, but also their caution. They knew the ship's power could be devastating if misused. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan and Claire watched the ship's glow. "Do you ever wonder if it was meant to crash?" Claire asked quietly. Ethan shook his head. "Maybe it was damaged, or maybe it was testing something, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that it's here and we can make something incredible from it." Mia arrived, carrying a new set of instruments. "Ready for the next experiment?" Lucas followed, joking. "Ready to teach a spaceship how to fight?" Ethan smiled. ready to learn. Captain Hart joined them, his face serious. This is just the beginning. We've learned to guide it, to teach it. Soon, we'll see what it can do in ways even the aliens never intended. Humanity has the advantage now. The ship is ours to understand, to shape, to use. But we must never forget the risk. Every great power comes with responsibility. The alien ship pulsed softly in agreement, as if it understood. Its blue lines shimmered, casting gentle light across the desert. The team stood together, ready to continue their work. Humanity was no longer just observing. Humanity was leading. And the ship, once a failed alien vessel, was becoming something more, something that could change the fate of Earth forever. The desert was quiet, but there was a tension in the air that no one could ignore. The alien ship rested in its crater, glowing softly with blue lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ethan Miller, Claire Adams, Lucas Hayes, and Mia Grant had spent months learning from it, guiding its energy and discovering its full potential. Today, that potential would be tested like never before. Captain Daniel Hart gathered the team early in the morning. "We've trained it, studied it, and learned to guide it," he said. "Now it's time to see what it can do in a real situation. An unknown threat has been detected outside our borders. This is our first chance to test the ship in action." Ethan's heart raced. He had expected this day, but the reality made him nervous. "We've prepared for this," he said, "but we have to stay careful." "This ship is powerful, yes, but it's still learning," Claire nodded. "We guide it, we coordinate with it, that's all we can do. But humans are clever and we've learned to think differently from the aliens. That's our advantage." Lucas grinned, trying to hide his nerves. "Guess it's time to see if a spaceship listens to humans better than aliens." Mia activated her scanner. "The energy readings are stable. The ship is responding faster than before. It's ready." Captain Hart gave the order to begin. The team had set up a simulation first, and now the real threat was approaching. A fleet of small alien drones had been detected entering Earth's orbit. They were advanced, fast, and numerous. If they reached the surface, they could cause massive destruction. Ethan focused his mind, guiding the ship's energy toward the drones. The blue lines on the ship brightened, moving like flowing water, forming shields and energy pulses. Claire added her concentration, directing the energy to lift objects, block attacks, and strike targets. The first drone approached. A flash of light shot from the ship, striking it midair. It exploded in a bright spark, and the remaining drones scattered. Lucas controlled a drone from the ground, guiding it alongside the alien ship's energy, creating coordinated movements. Mia monitored the energy output, ensuring the ship stayed stable. "Look at that," Lucas shouted. "It's working perfectly." Ethan smiled, though he kept his focus. "It's working because we're thinking together, humans and the ship. That's why it's effective." The aliens never expected this. The second wave of drones arrived, faster and in larger numbers. The ship pulsed in response, energy shields rising around it and the team. Sparks and waves of light danced across the desert, but no one was hurt. The drones were disrupted, unable to coordinate. One by one they were destroyed, guided by human thought and the alien ship's power. Claire watched carefully. "It's adapting to the attack patterns. Every move we make, it reacts faster. This is incredible," Mia nodded. "And that's exactly what makes humans stronger. We're unpredictable. That's why we can guide it better than the aliens ever could." Captain Hart surveyed the battlefield. "Keep focus, don't underestimate it, but remember we are in control. We lead, the ship follows." That's the rule. The waves of drones kept coming, but the ship handled them effortlessly. It lifted heavy objects from the ground, creating barriers. It emitted beams of energy, precise and controlled, destroying drones midair. Humans had turned what was once a failed alien ship into a weapon of intelligence, not just brute force. Hours passed, and the attacks continued. The team worked together flawlessly. Ethan and Claire guided the energy with thought. Lucas maneuvered the drones to optimize the ship's movements. Mia monitored every pulse, every reading. Even Captain Hart adapted strategies in real time, directing energy and motion. Finally, the last drone fell. The desert was silent again, except for the soft hum of the ship. The blue lines pulsed slowly, almost like it was breathing. Humans had won their first real battle. Lucas laughed, exhaustion and relief in his voice. "I can't believe it. We just fought aliens with a ship we barely understand, and we won." Ethan smiled, but stayed cautious. "We won today, yes, but we must remember the lessons. The ship is powerful, but it is still alive in some way. It learns from us, and we must guide it responsibly." Claire nodded. And that's what makes us human. We didn't just destroy them. We understood, guided, and adapted. That's our strength. That's why we succeeded where the aliens failed. Captain Hart placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. You all did well. Humanity has proven today that we are clever, adaptive, and capable of handling something far beyond our original technology. This ship, this weapon, is proof that we can rise to any challenge. The team spent the next days analyzing the battle. The ship had performed flawlessly, but they noticed something interesting. During the attacks, the ship seemed to anticipate moves before they were consciously planned. Its energy flowed in ways that matched human strategy, almost like it understood tactics. Mia frowned. It's learning faster than we thought. Not just our commands, but our thinking, our strategy. It's almost like it's working with us, not just following. Ethan nodded. Exactly. That's why humans have the advantage. We're not predictable. The aliens designed it for patterns, rules, and logic. We don't follow rules like that. That's what makes it ours, Claire added. And that's why it's more than a weapon. It's a symbol, a sign that humans can rise above any challenge, even one designed by a species far older and more advanced. Weeks passed, and the team continued to refine their control over the ship. They practiced complex maneuvers, combining energy shields, beams, and lifting objects while coordinating drones. Each experiment made them more confident. Each success proved that humans could turn a failed alien ship into something greater. One day, as the sun set over the desert, Ethan and Claire stood by the ship's glowing panels. "Do you ever think about what comes next?" Claire asked quietly. Ethan looked at the blue lines shimmering in the twilight. "We've done well so far, but this is only the beginning. The universe is bigger than we know and other threats may come. But if humanity faces them like this together, we can handle anything." Claire smiled softly. "We've learned more than just controlling a ship. We've learned that humans can adapt, think, and overcome. That's our real strength." Lucas arrived, carrying equipment, and grinned. "You two talking about strategy again? Come on, we have more experiments to run." Mia followed, adjusting her scanner. "And more energy to guide. The ship is ready for anything. Are you ready?" Ethan and Claire nodded. Captain Hart joined them, serious but proud. "We are ready. Humanity is ready. The ship is ready. Together, we are stronger than any challenge." The alien ship pulsed brighter, as if acknowledging them. Its blue veins of energy glowed across the desert, casting light like a beacon. Humanity had taken a failed alien ship, something abandoned and broken, and turned it into a weapon, not just of power, but of intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. Weeks later, news spread worldwide. Humanity had repelled an alien threat using technology far beyond Earth's. The alien ship, once a crashed mystery, had become a symbol of human ingenuity. Other nations took notice, but the U.S. team continued their work quietly, knowing that the real power lay in understanding, guiding, and learning, not just brute force. Ethan looked at the ship one night, standing in the desert under a sky full of stars. "We've come far," he said softly. "But this is just the start. We've proven we can adapt, think, and rise above anything. This ship, it's a weapon, yes, but it's also a lesson. Humanity is clever, and we are unstoppable when we work together." Claire smiled, her hand resting on the smooth metal. "And we've learned something else. The real weapon isn't the ship, it's us. Human intelligence, adaptability, and courage, that's what makes us strong. That's why we can turn even a failed alien ship into the greatest defense Earth has ever known." The alien ship pulsed softly, as if agreeing. It had come from the stars, abandoned and broken, but in human hands it had become more than technology. It had become proof that humanity could rise above limits, face any threat, and turn failure into triumph. The desert was calm, but under the quiet sky, the future of Earth had changed forever. Humans had claimed their place among the stars, not by following rules, but by thinking, adapting, and never giving up. And the alien ship, once a failed experiment, would always remind them of that power. Ethan, Claire, Lucas, Mia, and Captain Hart stood together, watching the glow of the ship. They knew challenges would come again. Other threats, other aliens. But humanity had learned a truth that nothing could take away. They were clever, adaptable, and ready for anything. The alien ship pulsed one last time in the night, casting light across the desert. It was a signal, a promise, and a warning. Humanity had turned a failed alien ship into a weapon, not just of energy, but of intelligence. And with it, Earth had become stronger than ever. The team left the desert that night, tired but triumphant. The ship stayed behind, glowing softly, waiting for the next challenge, and humanity knew it was ready.